Okay, so we're reading The Boy Who Grew Dragons, and we're currently on chapter 3. I'm going to start from there. 3. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it a super maggot? So, now the dragon fruit was glowing and growing. I decided it was best to keep it out of sight of Mum and Dad and away from Tom Tom. So I pulled out one of the storage drawers from the wooden unit that was crammed with all my toys, shoving a heap of plastic play figures to either side. I placed the fruit inside. My hand came away covered in sticky goo, like it was oozing juice or slime. Remember the possibility of a toxic meltdown. I quickly wiped my hands. Then I crawled into bed, eyes fixed on the drawer and the glow coming from inside. To be honest, it wasn't the behaviour I'd come to expect from fruit. I mean, bananas and mangoes never did such a thing. Even with kiwi fruit, you knew where you were. But this, frankly, it was weird. I had every intention of keeping a close watch on the fruit. But after all the digging and wrestling with the bonglewood, I was so tired my nighttime vigil probably lasted about 3.5 minutes. I don't know how long I'd been asleep when my eyes suddenly snapped open. The room was dark, but there was still a glow from the drawer. Suddenly, the whole wooden unit began to rattle and shake. That must have been what woke me. And then, just as quickly, it stopped. I peeled back the covers and crept out of bed. I switched on my rocket lamp and crouched down next to the drawer. Slowly, I opened and peered in. The fruit sat there glowing but unmoving. Had I been imagining this? I rolled my eyes at my own crazy imagination. Then I checked the room for a unicycling gorilla who usually turns up in my dreams. There was no gorilla, which meant this was no dream. Well, as you can see, he's waking up and saying, "What is that?" I turned back to the fruit and then jumped in alarm as it began to move, shaking the drawer again. And this time I clearly saw one side of it bulge. It was as if something inside it was trying to burst out. The skin stretched and the spiky leaves stuck out as the bulge moved under the surface. I thought of the worm I once found in a pear from Dad's garden. What if some kind of monstrous maggot was getting its way out of the dragon fruit? The thing twisted and writhed and pushed. I started to back away. There was no way I wanted a mutant maggot lurking at my face. But as I took another step, I stumbled over my King Kong and came crashing to the floor. I kept my eyes fixed on the still rattling drawer. Then there was an almighty pop! As you can see, there is this weird creature coming out of the fruit. Like a cork from a bottle, something shot over my head. A spray of messy pulp and little black seeds covered the floor and spattered my trouser leg. For a second, I just lay there, eyes pinned wide open. And I heard scratching. I know it was like someone striking a match. I spun round, eyes scanning the floor to see where the maggot, or whatever it was, had landed. But I could see where the toys I hadn't put away. There was a scratching sound again, like a fizzle of match igniting. Whatever was making the sound was behind my beanbag. The match struck for a third time. I edged closer, keeping my eyes firmly on the mound of the beanbag. As I bent towards it, one edge moved. There was something really underneath, trying to squirm its way out. Where was Tom Tom when I needed him? He'd left enough sad little critters on my carpet over the year as presents. He'd definitely know what to do with some kind of mutant lizard worm. My heart was hammering in my chest. I'd have run a mile, but if I took my eyes off it, it might slink away, and then I'd have to go back to bed knowing it could be somewhere in the room with me. I grabbed a mug from the dresser and stood up ready to trap whatever it was. Well, what he's going to trap is this mysterious creature that was kind of like a dragon, so it is probably a dragon. Slowly and very, very gingerly, I lifted a corner of the beanbag. I lifted the beanbag higher, millimetre by millimetre, until I saw it, lying curled underneath, the mad hammering in my chest, such calm as I gazed down at the tiny creature in front of me, which was quite most definitely not a mutant maggot. Although quite what it was, I had no idea. It looked like a bird, but it had thorny little spines down its back, and it seemed more leathery than feathery. It was bright red, and its rings were scalloped, a bit like a bat, and it shimmered in the light of my rocket lamp, like it was having trouble deciding on the very best shade of red to be. As I stood there, mouth gaping, it raised its head, swung it from side to side, and sneezed. Only what came out wasn't spit and boogie. It was a bright little spark in a wheeze of smoke. And that's when my brain woke up, and I knew for sure, no messing around, that what was nestled in my Batman's dressing gown, scratching its claw across Robin's head as it hopped from poop, was an actual dragon. You can see its little fruit there. Well, this is the end of chapter 3, I think it was, yeah. Today, but tomorrow it'll be chapter 4. It's a dragon! Bye-bye!